This week's Parashat Ki Tezeh, is jam-packed with halachot, including a particular law I want to focus on, the laws of working in a vineyard. This is in our parasha, the fifth aliyah, Perak Kaf Gimel, Pasuk Kafei, Ki tavo bekerem re'echa. When you enter into your friend's vineyard, ve'achalta anavim kenafshecha sov'echa, and you're going to eat the grapes as much as you want until you're full and you're satiated. Ve'el keliecha lo titen. But you're not allowed to put it inside your kelim, inside your vessels. You can't take it home with you. There's no there's no to-go bag right now. So the Targum and Rashi speak about right now. What is this case? Ki tavo bekerem re'echa, when you're coming into your friend's vineyard. So it says it's not talking about, you're just going for a stroll in your neighbor's yard, but rather it's speaking about a worker. It says Rashi, Ki tavo bekerem re'echa befoel hakatu medaber. The Torah is speaking about a laborer. So a person is working by his balabait. He's working in the field, and now he's busy. He's picking the grapes. It's the time of the harvest season. Ayen Rashi Sham, that specifically when it's the time when they're collecting. So now they're in the middle of collecting all the grapes, and while he's working, he's allowed to eat the grapes. Kenafshecha, says Rashi, kemasher tirtzeh, eat as much as you want while you're out there. Sov'echa v'lo achilat gasa, but eat as much as you want, whatever makes your nefesh happy, but until you're full, until you're saveya. But don't eat achilat gasa. Don't overstuff yourself. This is not a buffet over here where we're going to act like animals. While you're working, you're allowed to eat, but take your fill. Don't go excessive. Actually, this halacha is beginning to teach us a little bit about laborers' rights. That while working, it's not proper to say, you're not allowed to eat anything. You can't eat any of the grapes. You're picking so many grapes and you can't take any while you're doing it. No. That's not how halacha works. You're allowed to eat while you're working, but there's no to-go bag. You can't take home anything that you're doing. Only while you're working, you're allowed to. There's another famous halacha later on in our parasha. This time dealing with animals. This is in Perak Kafei Pasuk Daled. Lo tahsom shor bedisho. You can't muzzle an ox while it's threshing. The animal is busy working. So it's not just halacha by human beings. It's not just halacha by animals. We have a certain level of kavod for the worker, whether the worker is a human being, whether the worker is even an ox. We let them eat while they're working. Fine. And as we said, you can't take it home with you. Now let's go to Rabbeinu Behaye. Says Rabbeinu Behaye, El keliecha lo titen. Don't put it into your bags. Don't take it home in your kelim. This would be called stealing. You can't just take from you're working for this guy, you're picking his grapes, now you're going to come home with a suitcase of grapes. That's called stealing. The Torah says the Torah is giving us a special stipulation that the person, while he sees all those juicy grapes, he's picking them, there's such a deep desire to, I got to try one too. I'm working so hard, and to work so hard and never touch it. I remember once watching a video in Africa where people were busy picking the cocoa seed, and they'd never actually tasted chocolate before. And this American reporter came in and he gave them chocolate to taste, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is what we're so busy picking. We understand now. It tastes so sweet. It's so delicious." And the truth is, the cocoa seed is not as tasty. So I'm assuming if they tried the seed, they weren't as into it, because you had to put all the extra work into it, get the sugar into it, get some milk into it, make it into the actual chocolate. But here, a person is picking grapes. Grapes are delicious. The nefesh is mit aveh, the nafshecha. The person wants it. Wants to take it. So the Torah, Kadosh Baruch Hu, gives a special heter. You're allowed to take some. כי כיוון שהוא מתעסק בטורח בפירות, אם לא היה לו אפשר לאכול בהיתר, יכול באיסור. At the very beginning of the parasha, we have the halacha of the Eshet Yafat Toar, the certain dispensation that was given to the beautiful woman in the middle of war to take her. So here also as well, the Torah is saying, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't let us eat these grapes while working, there would be theft, there would be gezel over here. Hashem understand that there's certain basic laborers' rights over here, and therefore He's allowed to take the grapes. If not, it would be much, much worse. Therefore he says, eat and let the person be righteous and eat exactly the amount that's proper for him. And he says, so too, we have in the next halacha that says that when you're picking the next pasuk says ki tavo bekamat re'echa, when you come into your fellow's field and there's the standing grain, the katafta melilot beyadecha, you can pluck the ears with your hand. That's the stuff you can take for yourself. The chermes lo tanif al kamat re'echa, but don't take a sickle. Don't start using the tools and start cutting things down. This is like the same consideration over here. The laborer, whether it's in a vineyard, whether it's going to be with these grains, you're allowed to eat, but eat ketzadik kesov'echa. Lecha, eat the proper amount, don't be gluttonous, eat exactly what you're supposed to be, and that's a special dispensation you're allowed to have when you go into your friend's field, when you're working for your friend. Awesome. Okay, that is the simple idea of the pasuk. But then I saw a beautiful mystical idea, derech hasod, to try to re-understand these pisukim. I saw this first in the Pituchei Chotam of the Abir Yaakov Abu Chatzera, as well as in the Noam Elimelech, as well as in the Agra Dakala of the Bnei Yissaschar. Let's start with the Pituchei Chotam. He says, okay, what is this halacha? Ki tavo bekerem re'echa. You're going into the vineyard of your friend. Okay, what does a vineyard symbolize? A vineyard, a place where you have wine, where you have grapes. So it says, the Pituchei Chotam says, Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzera, if Shar Lirmoz, it could be a hint over here. If somebody wants to really understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu, try to get a little bit to the depths of what is God really all about. We know we can never fully understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but we know that there are some secrets that begin to give us a little bit of a glimpse to try to understand at least maybe how HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world, or maybe what this world is really all about. Says the Pituchei Chotam, to talk about the deepest secrets of the Maaseh Merkava. He says, first off, you got to be very careful. You got to make sure that you're kadosh before you go in. But he says that the idea of going into the vineyard is this idea of going to learn the sodot of the Torah. Because he says, kitavo bekerem re'echa. Re'echa, what is re'echa? Re'echa is your friend. Re'echa is also known as HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Chazal tells us in the Midrash, we say, leman achai ve'ra'ai, for the sake of our brothers and our friends. Who's the re'ai? Who's our real friend? Who's the one that we really love? It's really HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who's the re'echa we really want to love, we really want to get close to? Who's that real close friend of ours? Who is that one that we really have the connection to? The real re'ai is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he says, when you're going into the kerem of re'ech, and remember, we're servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're not going just as a simple friend going for a tiyul. We're going to go work for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we go into Hashem's kerem. Now he says also this language of tavo. So he explains over there the language of tavo. He uses certain kind of gematrias over there where he explains that tavo relates to kadosh, to kedusha. If you actually want to go and try to learn Torah, you want to try to understand a little bit deeper thoughts. And Baruch Hashem, today there are so many Torah, Sfarim out there, so many lectures out there, so many divrei Torah that are beginning to give us a little bit more of the depth of what is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why He created the world, why we are here, trying to get into a little bit more of those sodot. And we have such access to it today. He says, first off, though, before your tavo comes with it this concept of being kadosh. But then, im ratzita likanes bekerem re'echa ladat sodat the Torah. But if you really want to get into the vineyard of the close one to us, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of the one that we love, you have to be kadosh. Ukeshetiyeh kadosh, and once you're kadosh, now he goes back to the pasuk, as ve'achalta anavim, and then our pasuk tells us then we can eat the anavim. We can now eat the grapes. Shehi itaskut b'sodot Torah, because eating the grapes is the concept of grapes symbolizes the sodot, the secrets. Now we all know the famous Dvar Torah that nichnas yain yotze sod. The yain is gematria sod. The wine comes in, the sodot come out. Wine is this mystical drink. Yain is gematria sod. It's both 70. So this concept of yain being the sodot and these anavim, the grapes, now symbolizing the yain. I actually saw in the footnote in my Oz v'Hadar Pituchei Chotam. So he quotes a different sefer of the Abir Yaakov. This is in his Magalei Tzedek, where he writes the word yekev. Yekev over here. We have a lot of yekavim in Israel. Yekev is a winery. Winery. Yekev. Yud kuf vet. Yekev. He says Yechud kucha bracha, Yechud kucha brichu. We always want to do L'Shem Yechud kucha brichu before we do our brachot, before we do our different mitzvot, especially the Hasidim, the Mekubalim. They do this thing for the sake of making HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name one. L'Shem Yechud kucha brichu, Yechud kucha brichu, making Hashem one. Yichud Hashem, one of our 6 constant mitzvahs. Yichud Hashem, Yechud kucha brichu is Yekev, same letters, Rashi Tevot of the winery. So we have this concept of the winery is the place where we can get to the sodot. So back to the Pituchei Chotam. V'achalta anavim. This is delving into the sodot. Now, why does it call it anavim? Why is it called grapes? Why is grapes the sodot? Because we have this teaching amongst Chazal that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hid away the wine. That when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, we spoke about in this past, that what was the etzadat? So according to one opinion, the etzadat was wine, was this yain, and then ultimately that original wine that was supposed to be the first kiddush of Adam HaRishon, it was taken away, it was hidden away. Quotes the footnote over here, says the Gemara in Berachot, my ayin lo ra'ata. What does it mean when we're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that no one can actually understand the greater depths? Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, ze yain ha-meshumar ba'anava mishesh yemei bereshit. This is the wine that's been hidden away away from the creation of the world. And says the Zohar, he says, the Hainu Sodot Torah, it's the Sodot. And this is what, and he continues, Amar Rabbi Yosef, Yain HaMeshumar Ba'anavav Mishesh Yemei Bereshit, Elu Devarim Atikim. What is this Yain HaMeshumar? What is this wine that's been hidden away? It's the old, deep secrets, Shelo Niglu La'adam Miyom Shlivra Olam, that has not been revealed since the creation of the world. V'atidim Lidgalot Tzadikim Atid Lavo. But they're going to be revealed to the Tzadikim in the future, in the times of Mashiach. Okay, so that's the idea of these Anavim. Back to the Pituchei Chotam. Bezeh al Sodot HaTorah Tzefunim Medaber. We're talking about the hidden secrets of the Torah. ואפשר דדימוי זה לומר כשם שהיין צריך שמירה מעולה סגור חתום צר כדי שלא ייגע בו זר, כך סודות התורה צריכים שמירה מעולה שלא ימסרם למי שאינו הגון להכין נתקנה הסוד לענבים. He says maybe also we're comparing it to grapes and to wine because we have a special halacha when it comes to wine, that wine has to be it has to have a chotam. It has to be sealed away. Actually, it has to have a double seal away. We know we have the halacha of yain nesach or stam yainam, that non-Jews aren't allowed to touch our wine. That there's a certain level of kedusha that we have with wine that has to have a double protection. So he says wine is the sodot of the Torah. He says so too when it comes to learning the sodot. We're starting to get really deep in our learning. We have to be careful who we teach it to, who we spread it to. You have to have that double chotam. You have to have that double seal to make sure that the sodot stay hidden away. I actually read a beautiful Dvar Torah in the Biur Agadot of the Gara on Masachet Megillat of Bet Amud Bet. It speaks about the Mem and Samech, the Mem Sofit and the Samech Shebeluchot, with the famous Dvar Torah we spoke about many times in the past, that in the holy Luchot there were two letters that stood there miraculously. The Mem Sofit, which is the shape of a square, and the Samech, the shape of the circle and the square, miraculously stood, that the middle part of it was floating in midair. It was a very miraculous, and that kind of corresponds to some of the deepest secrets of the Torah. But then after we sinned with the Egel, the Mem and the Samech, they flew back up on top. Says the Gaon Mevilna, what is the Mem and Samech? What does that symbolize? So he says, Hen besod gan na'ul achoti kala gan gal na'ul mayan hatum. It says this is the secret of gan na'ul and gal na'ul. We speak about in Shir Shirim, there's a beautiful verse over there that speaks about the locked garden and the wave or the galgalim or the wheel that has been locked away. There's a double lock going over there. So says the Gaon Mevilna, that's referring to a double lock that has to take place. Gan na'ul, gal na'ul. We have ourselves a gan. The garden is considered to be square. In halachot, we have the square of the garden. Gal is the galgal, it's an agol. So we have ourselves the circle and the square. It symbolizes the double lock. And he says that olam haba ulotid lavo sitrei Torah sagur u'mesugar. These are the secrets of the Torah. The Mem and the Samech, they correspond to the secrets of the Torah. Sagur u'mesugar. They have to be double wrapped. They have to be double sealed. And the double seal is the Samech and the Mem. We have ourselves the double seal on the Yain. And actually, in the footnote over here, they say the Likutei Agra compares this to the wine itself. The wine has to be sealed and hidden away, kept careful for the right people. Shebahen nitarin v'nichsharin, because through this Mem and Samech, through this the sodot that are double sealed, we become nitar and we become nichshar. What does it mean, nitar and nichshar? We become purified and we become kosher, because we know tehorah, we have purity comes through a mikvah. Mikvah is through Mem, through 40 say on the mikvah. While we have nichshar, something becomes kosher. We have what's called bitul b'shishim. We have this concept of nullifying in 60. Something becomes kosher. If non-kosher falls in kosher, 1 in 60 becomes batel. So the Mem and Samech, they make us holy and they make us kosher, and that's corresponding to the double seal that we have to do on the sodot of the Torah, which are those Mem and Samech that flew back, that B'ezrat Hashem we should be zocheh to in the future. Okay. So too in Sefer Agra Dekala, you open up the Bnei Yissaschar. So he says over here we have a remez as well to the Bonenut, to really going deep into the Sodot HaTorah, B'chokhmat HaKabbalah, Shu Kerem Hashem Tzevakot, Ve'echa Hu Hashem Yitbarach. So he says the same ideas. V'achal Tanavim Hu Sod Sodot HaTorah, Mukim V'nistarim, Kemo Shebanavim Nistar Hayayin, Shu Gematria Sod. So he also says this concept of that we're going up to try to learn the Sodot, that when we want to learn the Sodot, we got to do it right. So first thing you have to do, we saw in the Bituchei Chotam, we got to come in there Kadosh. Then he goes on, and he says, okay, let's keep going. Then it says, Uma shamar, kenafshecha sov'echa. So it says, Abir Yaakov b'chatzera. What does it mean, eat it, kenafshecha like the way your nefesh wants, the way your body, your soul wants, sov'echa, until you're satiated. So what does that mean? So we saw that from Rashi in the simple pshat, it meant eat as much as you want, but don't overeat, meaning eat exactly what you need. So says the Pituchei Chotam, Mishum shekatav Rabbeinu Arizal, Demi shaya osek basodot, ve'da'ato mistapeket umishtabeshet badvarim, ve'ein belibo amuna shlema tkoa karui, yachik atzmo milimudo. He says, really, you have to eat it to be satiated. But if someone is learning it and he starts getting questions, I don't quite understand this, I'm not, I don't fully follow this, I'm not connected, my emunah is not in the right place, yachik atzmo milimudo. Then don't learn it. Don't learn the secrets if it's not like connecting to you. Lefish nishmato lo kibela, because he says his neshama never really connected to it. And they have a footnote over here that says, Bizman matan Torah et chelek asod sheba. It seems to be, we know we have the pardes to the Torah, the different levels, pshat, remez, drush, sod, different ways to learn the Torah, different levels of the Torah. It sounds like some neshamot, the Kabbalah part, that wasn't the part they connected to. So if you don't connect it, so you don't have to learn it. Don't learn it if you don't feel good. But, kinafshecha sovecha, but if you really desire it, you really want those fruits, we said Hashem's not going to hold us back if we want the grapes. If we're busy serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're learning Torah, we're doing mitzvot, and now we have this deep, deep desire while we're learning, while we're doing things, now we want to get even closer to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we're mitaveh. So Hashem gave us a dispensation. You're mitaveh, you really want to understand me? You want to understand some deeper ideas? Come. Echol usva mimenu, go learn the Torah, learn those depths, and become satiated, enjoy them. So that's what it means sovecha. Eat until you can understand, until you get it. But if you have too many questions, then you can stop, and it's not for you right now. And then he says, and what's that last line? Ve'el keliyecha lo titen. Don't put it in your kelim. Don't put it into your utensils. Don't take it home in your doggy bag. What does that mean? So he says kelim, different utensils, is also a euphemism sometimes used. A person has his own kelim. We have our eyes, we have our mouth, we have our nose. And he says a lot of times when you're learning some deeper ideas about what Hashem is all about, they use these mashalim. They use these analogies of different body parts, of eyes and nose and mouth. And we know in the Torah speaks about the Yad Hashem, and Hashem hears us, and Hashem sees us. But we have to always know, like the Rambam tells us, as the Targum translate, this stuff is not supposed to be taken literally. None of this stuff should be taken literally whatsoever. El keliyecha lo titen. You have to understand, chas v'shalom, you cannot make anything physical. Everything is spiritual concepts that we're wrapping in ideas of that we can understand through ourselves, through the way creation was created, but we can definitely not take the spirituality literally. So it's a bit of a warning of if you actually want to learn the sodot, how do you learn the sodot? Okay, so that was the Pituchei Chotam. Now I want to go one more level to the Noam Elimelech, because he says a similar idea, but I find that he says some parts a little bit easier. Says the Noam Elimelech. So he says, these psukim are, he learned them alimut sodot Torah, and he says as follows: Ki tavo bekerem re'echa, when you come into your friend's field, nira lomar de kerem Hashem tzevakot hu sodot Torah. We're talking about going into the kerem of Hashem, which is the sodot Torah. Hu yain emes shumar ba'anavim. This is the hidden away wine we spoke about from creation. Ayin lo ra'ata, that was hidden away for the tzaddikim. Ba'amar katuv im zachita lavo lesodot Torah v'achalta anavim kenafshecha. And if you were zocheh to get to those sodot, then b'chabod, come and eat and enjoy. Betzelomar kifi madrigatcha. Says, what does it mean, kenafshecha? Like, eat according to your nefesh, meaning eat according to the level, to the madrega, to the level of your nefesh. Don't try to read things and learn things that are way beyond you. Learn Torah on your level. Only according to your level. Only that amount. What does it mean until you're satiated? How are you going to know, is the Torah you're learning right now my level, or is it beyond my level? How are you going to know? When you see that you really are satiated, and you see that, this Torah that I'm learning, it's so great, it's so awesome, I love it so much, you have such an enjoyment, that means you're good. Wait, stay at this point for a while right now. You got at a level that's supposed to be for you, you're at your level. The El Keliyecha lo titen. Now, how does he learn? And don't bring it into your kelim. So he learns a little bit differently. Here he learns hakatuv mazircha shelo tit'aneg gufecha mizeh. So he also learns keliyecha, kind of like reference to your body. But here he says, don't take it for yourself. Meaning, don't oh, look, I'm so great. Now I became awesome. We spoke by Pesach time, we spoke a little bit about the Chet of Acher, the fear of Moshe Shapira, and how there's a certain level of seeing himself. Once he got to the Pardes, once he got up to the orchard, those higher Sodot, he kind of saw that he himself had great value. Here the idea is, no, don't take it to yourself. Go sit with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, learn, enjoy on the level that you enjoy, but you have to leave it there with Kadosh Baruch Hu. Don't bring it to yourself. Don't make it great on yourself. He brings down a pasuk over here. Don't use the Torah or use the secrets to make yourself great. And the Noam Elimelech actually connects this to a later pasuk, later on Parsha, Perak Kavdal pasuk Kavbet. So it speaks about the vineyard again. It says, "Ki tivtzor karmecha," when you gather the grapes in your vineyard, lo te'olel acharecha. Don't pick it up over again. If things fell along the way, things got left behind, leave it. Lager la yatom ve'almana yiyeh. Leave it for the ger, leave it for the yatom, leave it for the almana, leave it for them. So he says over there, he actually learns it also. If you forget something, if when you're learning something falls along the way, you don't have everything you're supposed to be getting, leave it for the ger. Who says who's the ger? The ger is the tzaddik who recognizes that he's only temporary in this world. And we have the yatom, we have the orphan who realizes that he's orphaned without a Kadosh Baruch Hu really in this world right now. He says all of these things are hints that we're supposed to leave it behind for the tzaddikim who know what they're doing. Meaning, if we're learning and we're doing things, but it's not going, we're forgetting, we're not understanding, we're not grasping, we might not be there yet, and we're not on that level yet. We have to learn, we have to grow in our Torah even more and try to get the higher levels. But then lager le'atom v'lamana yiyeh, leave it for those other righteous ones. Those are all hints for the tzaddikim, and they're going to do their part. And then he actually quotes another pasuk in our parasha that says, "Ki tiktzor ketzircha basadecha." Same concept, but now if you're reaping out there in the field, the harvest, the grains, v'shachachta omer basadeh, and you forgot one of the sheaves, lo tashuv lekachto. Again, leave it there. Lager le'yatom v'namar yiyeh. Leman yivarecha Adonai Elohecha b'chol ma'aseh yadecha, in order for Kadosh Baruch Hu to bless you in all that you do. So he says that if we recognize when you start getting to parts of Torah, okay, this is too much for me, I'm not there yet. Bezrat Hashem, I know when to be poresh, I know when to take a step to the side. Leave it for those tzaddikim. Leave it for that ger yatom ve'almana. Then leman yivarecha Hashem. Then Kadosh Baruch Hu says, now you really are legit. You're learning it for the right reasons, for the right desires, for the right kind of ways. Now Bezrat Hashem, I'm gonna bless you the way you're supposed to be blessed. And he says ultimately, if we could do this right, we have the ability to accomplish some really big things. Says the Noam Elimelech on that second pasuk, the one right after our pasuk, when you go into the grains, v'katafta melilot beyadecha, and you're going to pluck the ears of the grains with your hands. So he says, what do you mean v'katafta melilot beyadecha? Melilot, the grains. Melilot is also the same language as the lamed yud lamed taf. This is that's the name for the shin dalets, for the feminine negative forces in the world, the lamed yud lamed taf. He says, if you do things right, v'katafta beyadecha, in your hands you're going to be able to take out what you could take out. But he says beyadecha. You have to understand there's only so much we can do. Each person has his place. Everybody has their chelek in the Torah they're supposed to be learning. Their chelek they're supposed to be fixing and metaken in the world. But if we do it right, we have here the opportunity. If we come in there kadosh, tavo, as he says, an idea of kadosh. We come, we prep ourselves, we do it step by step. We recognize what our level is. Then, Bezrat Hashem, v'achalta anavim kenafshecha sov'echa, we're actually going to be able to taste of those grapes, taste of those sodot, taste of the yain, the shivim panim Torah, the sodot Torah, and we're going to get what our nefesh needs, sov'echa, and it's going to be enjoyable, and it's going to be such a ta'anug. Maybe we zocheh to taste the sweetness of the Torah. Shabbat Shalom.